Welcome back to the MQ News Desk. This morning, we got a special report. This morning, we woke up to find out the tragic loss of R&B singer and legend Angie Stone. Angie Stone. She was involved in a fatal car crash early morning hours in the state of Alabama. We have the story here. The basic story. Angie Stone, the soul singer who rose to fame as member of pioneering female hip-hop trio The Sequence and later became a prominent soul singer, died at the age of 63. Stone died in a car crash in Montgomery, Alabama, early Saturday morning. A rep for the singer confirmed to Variety that she was coming from a show with her band members and background singers when her Sprinter van turned over. Stone was the only person who died in the accident. The Grammy-nominated musician was best known for her hit in 2001, Wish I Didn't Miss You, a quiet storm soul record carried by her husky, rich vocals and prominent sample of the OJ's Backstabbers. Throughout her career, she released 10 solo albums and was nominated for 3 Grammys, including Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with vocals in 2003 and Best Female R&B Vocal Performance the following year. Yeah, she was very, very popular in some circles. I mean, R&B fans know exactly who she is. She was even a star on the TV show. I think it was R&B Divas for a little while. Kind of like followed her life around with some other R&B singers. And we kind of got to know her a little bit better, a little bit more up close and personal. Well, anyway, all that aside, we find out that she had a show down in Alabama at the Outlaw Convention Center. It's named after a gentleman named, I think, Robert Outlaw. And she was doing the Grand Marshal's Ball. That's a big pre-Mardi Gras party down there, concert or whatever. And it's very popular. She was down there doing a performance. And it seems that right after that performance, they took off, and she had scheduled later on today, as a matter of fact, the CIAA basketball tournament. I guess the closing ceremonies. I mean, all the games have already been played, so now they're going to do the champions and let everything go in Baltimore. And now that's 14 hours driving, like 14 hours and some minutes driving nonstop from Mobile, Alabama, up. And let's take a look at the map here. Let's see what we're talking about. Now, the scene of the crash is right here, but we're gonna go back. Let's look at the whole route we're gonna take. Now, she started right here. This is the Mobile Convention Center, Outlaw Convention Center, right here on the Mobile River. Now we're gonna take this stop. We're going to head to Baltimore, Maryland. See how long that's gonna take. Now, got a planned route here. Approximately 14 hours, 30 minutes. Roughly about 65 miles an hour, this thing Google Maps predicts. It's pretty good. I use it quite a bit. I'm coming out of the Mobile down here and up through Montgomery, up through Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, Virginia here, and then we're going to end up coming through D.C. and then eventually in Baltimore at the arena there where they're doing all the CIAA stuff. Now, this van had at least 10 people in it. This van had Angie Stone and 9 band members. Now, what we don't know is if the driver was part of the band or if the driver was a separate commercial driver. Now, with a van carrying 10 people plus the driver, right? I'm assuming In Alabama, you don't need a CDL to do that. You have to be carrying a vehicle. Vehicle has to be carrying 16 people or more to require a CDL. Now, the same goes for Alabama, North Carolina, and Virginia. Now, this route that they're taking is going to run them all the way through Georgia also. Now, in Georgia, to carry 10 people, I'm assuming that not your family. Because in California, if your family is 13, 14 strong, you don't need a CDL to drive them around. But if you're driving for commercial purposes, or you're driving people around who are not your particular family, your immediate family, you need a CDL with a passenger endorsement to drive more than 10 people around. And Georgia's the same way. Georgia requires 10 people. So 10 people in Georgia, 16 everywhere else along the route. So they're fine except for Georgia. Now, the question is, do they have a professional driver driving for them? Because this crash happened at 4:30 in the morning. This was reported first at 4:30 in the morning Central Time in Alabama. Now, the crash, let's go back. We're going to do this again here. We've got Mobile, Alabama. Now, I've pretty much marked out the crash site. Let's flip this around. No more Baltimore. We're going to the... choose a location. There we go, crash site. Now, from Mobile, Alabama, down here at the little convention center, to ride up to, now that everything is saying that the crash happened just short of a town called Hope Hull, which is right here. And that is just a few more minutes south of Montgomery, Alabama. Now you see where we are. This is the crash site here. This is mapped out pretty good. I was able to identify where it was. It was just short of a certain mile marker anyway. But anyway, we got a long stretch of road here. Now, this drive out of Mobile, Alabama, you can see it's pretty much a straight line. You got little curves here when you start. Now, we're driving straight, and it's 2 hours and 9 minutes to the site of the crash. Now, according to facts we found, they did a show in Mobile, Alabama. Doors opened at 9 o'clock p.m. Doors closed to let people in at 10 p.m. And it was a party. It was a show. So you're talking possibly another 2 hours. We're talking maybe midnight minimum before the show wraps, right? So you got Angie Stone and her band getting out of this show at midnight. Now, according to in order to be at this crash site at 4:39 in the morning, they had to leave Mobile, Alabama, roughly 2:30 in the morning. Central Standard Time. Now, midnight to 2:30 is no time, right? Time to go back to the room, get your stuff together, pack, hop in the van. Now, I'm sure Angie and her band were going to sleep in this van. That's a big juicy Sprinter van. You know, looks like the biggest size you can get. I can't tell how it was outfitted. I have no idea. I doubt it just had bench seats in it like a farm labor vehicle, but it probably has some couches, probably has maybe a bed or two in there. Don't know. So we got people in there crashing out, going to sleep. Now the driver hopefully was not part of the band. I really hope that driver was not part of the band, because if he was part of the band, he had no sleep, whoever it was. Now, we're not required to have a commercial driver for this trip. I hope they did. But if they did not have a commercial driver, and that driver was inside the concert hall, if he was part of the band, if he was just hanging around all night at the party. Now, this is pre-Mardi Gras, so this is probably pretty wild. So he's on the road right after the show on no sleep. Okay, there's no time to get any sleep between midnight and 2:30. So they hit the road, 2:30 a.m., pitch black, take off running, straight. Yeah, I say you hit this curve, little turn. I mean, you don't even feel that. That looks like some miles. So you go around 65, you're heading up 65, you're driving straight road. Now, see, I've driven in the South. You got straight road, no mountains. I mean, it's flat. For the most part, it's flat and smooth, right? Trees lining both sides of the road, nothing to look at. You can get real sleepy real quick, especially at night. So here they go, 2 hours into the drive, and then boom. Now, the boom happens around 4:30 in the morning. According to these crash pics we got, let's take a look. Let's see here. Now we're gonna go back to our regular scheduled pics. I don't know, wrong stuff. Okay, here we go. Now, this is the first main one that comes up in my search this morning early. We see the van, nice, juicy, looks like a 10-wheeler, a 6-wheeler, I'm sorry, 6-wheel with the dually in the back. Heavy, got the boat bottom on the top, air conditioning unit up there. I mean, this thing is outfitted. She's going to be doing a lot of traveling. It's a 14-hour trip to Baltimore straight, right? And to the right, we have further down the road. This is taken from this red car here. They took the picture of the van first. They came upon it first. They're traveling northbound. Then they come up on the big rig, CRST, very big, giant national carrier. I see those trucks all the time. He's across the highway facing the wrong way. Now, looking at the van, it appears that it has seen, the side of it has seen the ground. Or it was sideswiped really, really flat and clean by a big rig truck. But being on that side of the truck, that damage, just to be sideswiped, I can't see it ending up on the left side of the road over there. And also the big rig ending up far to the left on the other side of the road. But you can also see a little bit closer in, you can see, excuse me, I'm not Bobby Brady. Which one was it the voice clicked in the middle of the episode? I don't care. Anyway, like I said, we can see in this picture here, it seems to be a big dent in the side of the van right at the first passenger door there, right behind the driver's seat. Seems to be a little indentation. Everything seems to be really jacked up pretty bad. And I'm looking at the bottom, the back of the van here. This thing has rolled. It really looks like it's rolled. Now, this picture here, I don't think we can see it well, but in the video, I can see that the front right steer wheel on the CRST rig here is cut real hard to the left. Now, I've seen a lot of these accidents where trucks hit something in the front. That's tie rod snaps, or the tie rod ends come off of the spindle or whatever, and trucks lose their steering quick. Little cars will tear up the front end of a truck easy and quick because that wheel is so big, the leverage that's required to snap it off of a steering mechanism, it could be done. Now, I'm thinking this truck may have lost his control when he made contact with the van. Looking at everything the way it looks, it seems to me that the van, let's go back here. Screen recording. Yeah, we got a video here. Now, we do have a video here from earlier, before the van was uprighted. Let's take a look. Look at that. See that there? Okay, now we know for sure this van rolled. Now, we're talking about a van with 10 people in it, asleep. They got to be sleeping. There's no way they up, knowing what they got to do in Baltimore in less than, 10, 11 hours. I doubt they were seat belted. At least the people in the back. There's no way they were all seat belted. There's no safety harness. There's probably not a roll cage in this van. They went for a nice little bouncy ride inside that van. They say it rolled 3 times. Now see, here we got the truck. These are marks left by the CRC big rig, of course, because the Sprinter van is still behind us. The truck seems to have, I don't know if those are skid marks or not, but it looks like one set of doors is locked up. Don't know what happened. Don't know why, but it definitely dug into the road and went right across. And if you look at that front axle, you can see that that front wheel is turned real hard. And for the cab to be facing that way, it looks like it's turned real hard to the left. Now, I don't know what the wheel on the front other side is doing. It may be pointed in the same way. But this truck, I think, had lost control after the hit. Now, looking at the situation here, and after consuming hours upon hours of crash videos here on YouTube, this looks like a classic pit maneuver job to me. I'm seeing in my mind's eye the van and the big rig both traveling northbound on I-65. Middle of the night, 4 something in the morning, still dark. Either A, the van drifts over right next to the big rig, drifts over, pits himself out. Now, when we say pit, we're talking PIT, which is a pursuit intervention technique, which cops use. They tap the back end of your car when they're right next to you, get you to spit out, and chase is usually over. We call it pit whenever somebody does that, even though there's no pursuit here and there's no intervention going on. It appears to me that dent we saw earlier in the van would have come from the van just putting itself on the front right corner of that truck. Now, I don't know how fast it happened. Like I said, this is scenario 1. The van driver falls asleep and drifts over into the truck, which just so happens to be kind of right next to him. The van becomes a push broom, which that's another technique, another type thing we call when a car pits itself on the front of a big rig and then it flattens out and is going dead sideways on the nose of the big rig, and then the big rig is using it like a push broom. So I'm thinking that van push broomed itself in front of that big rig for a second, and it probably continued on out of the way of the big rig, but at this point it's sideways, it's top heavy, it's digging in, and it's going to start rolling. Ends up right there. The big rig is damaged from this contact, and he's trying to stop, jamming the front end. Who knows what his front end is doing, and he just dances across the road over here, right? Now, scenario 2, other possibility, they're coming up the highway side by side, same thing. The big rig driver falls asleep, has a heart attack, who knows? Drifts over into the van, just touching it enough to throw the van into a same thing, a push broom maneuver. Same thing. Van flips and rolls. Big rig gets damaged in the contact, ends up on the other side of the highway. Doesn't look like the truck ended up on the other side of the highway and hit anyone head on, because they do have that little fence thing running along the middle of the highway. See right there, they got this thing they do now on the 2-lane roads, and it's supposed to take a car and arrest it, keep it from going across the road, the highway. And it's got wires, and I mean, you'll tear your car up. A big rig go right through it, as we see. But it kind of slowed it down. Looks like it all ended right there. It seems pretty open and shut, and I mean, you've got somebody sleeping in the back of that Sprinter van, and it rolls 3 times. It just doesn't look good. It's crazy how she's the only one lost in this wreck. And I mean, I guess that's a blessing. I mean, you got a lot of people who are out of work now. You got a lot of people who are, she had a lot of dates, man. She was doing a lot of shows. Angie Stone is an excellent singer. She is very talented, and she is working. And I was looking at her schedule, and it's like, wow, she's out here doing everything right, I just really hope that we don't have a one of these drivers messed up. There's no way around it. One of these drivers just completely messed up. Now I hope this was a commercial driver with plenty of sleep under his belt, wide awake, and just couldn't avoid the accident. Whatever the case may be. The CRST driver, one of these guys was not right, and we'll have to wait until more information comes out. That's about it. This is very, very sad wreck. I mean, and being a commercial driver myself, I see stuff like this every day. And we pray for the remaining people here. And, well, like I said, we'll keep you updated on this story, and as more comes out. But you can pretty much mark my words here. This was a complete accident. We're not going to get into any conspiracy theories about what Angie Stone was about to write a book about and why somebody planned this all out. And let's just stay away from all of that. Give the family their privacy and let them heal and let them handle their business. And until next time, we'll keep the information coming as we get it. Thank you for watching.